Hi everyone, welcome back to Megan's Creative Arts. Today we are going to do this beautiful two-color granny square motif. So this is the actual square that we'll be doing. So this is 4 of them together. So you could do a blanket with these. I'm actually turning this into a table runner. And then this would actually look cute as a bag too. But you can do whatever you would like with it. So I'm going to be using the same colors. I just used my daughter's favorite pink. And I paired it with a gray. Both of these are the same or similar. The pink is some that I had left over from a sweater I did for her. And so this is the big twist. That is now, I'll fix that. And the gray I got from Hobby Lobby, the Crafter's Secret Big Idea. And this one is actually called Gray Beard, if you want to use the same color. I do not have the actual color from the big twist. It's probably some sort of darker pink color. But for this, you're going to need some scissors because I'm just going to cut that off. Preferably you have a tapestry needle or yarn needle to weave in your ends. A hook, I am using a 5.5 millimeter. And I will show you how I you don't really create ends until the very end, except on the very first round. So you'll be using both of your colors at the same time. So I will show you how you kind of hide those. Let's get started. So we're going to start with the magic ring. So whatever your first color is going to be, it's a little easier when you have just 2 colors. So for the magic ring, I cross it, wrap it around my fingers and cross it over. I'm going to go under the first one and pull up the second one. That is your magic ring. To really lock it in place, you're going to chain. And for our first round, we are going to be chaining 3. So I just did 1, closer, 2, 3. And it doesn't matter if your little tail gets kind of twisted around. So you just do it however you like it. So after we do chain 3, we're going to do 2 double crochets into the ring. And that makes your granny stitch, which is 3 double crochets together, or 3 double crochets. So there's our first little granny stitch. I'm going to chain 2 and do 3 double crochets again. And you go as fast or as slow as you would like. It can be difficult on the first round. I'm going to chain 2 again and do 3 double crochets. Now, if your loop is a little too big, you always want to make sure you're going over your tail. You can just pull that tail a little, close your ring a little. There's 3. So I've got 3 of my sides. I got to do 1 more. So chain 2. 3 double crochets, and then chain 2. We're going to close it up. I'm just going to pull this a little tighter, not completely tight yet, and in the very top of your 3rd chain that you started at, you're going to slip stitch. So you'll put your hook through that chain, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then immediately go through that loop to slip stitch. Now I'm going to pull this nice and tight, and I'm actually going to trim this off. You don't have to if you don't want to trim it off, because we're going to be coming back around. I just find it easier. And then I'm going to end up weaving it in, so you'll see how I hide it behind my work. So here's where you're going to grab your 2nd color. Just going to do a slip knot. Go. And starting in the corner, and at this point you can choose any corner, so it's really up to you. I'm going to slip stitch this onto my corner, pull it a little tight, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Now I'm going to do 2 double crochets. Then I'm going to chain 2 and do 3 double crochets, and that does our corner stitch. Chain 2. And as I'm working, I'm going over my tails. You see how I'm kind of holding the tails along the back. Push that over just a little. And there's our first corner of our 2nd round. And we're going to continue this all the way around. So I'm just going to kind of twist my tails a little to keep them together. We don't do any stitches in these 3 double crochets, only in the chain 2 spaces. So I'm going to do 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, all in this chain 2 space from the round below. So there's 3, chain 2. I'm going to push these over just a little. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to do this all the way around. I'm going to trim off these tails. You don't have to trim them as you go, just my preference. When I show you the 3-color mosaic granny square, that one's a little more difficult. I think the 2 colors are a bit easier to handle. So there's my 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 more double crochets. All right, now last corner, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, all right, now we need to join these two together. All I'm doing at the top of my third chain is inserting my hook, pulling through a loop, and then pulling through the loop that was on my yarn already, or on my hook. All right, so we're going to start round 3, and we're going to reintroduce pink here in a minute. But to start round 3, we start with our second color. I'm going to single crochet into the space between my granny stitches, chain 2, and do 2 double crochets. Now I'm going to stop before I finish that second double crochet because I need to pull in my pink, or whatever your first color is. To do that, all I'm going to do, I'm actually going to have a little bit of a longer tail there, and I'm going to pull on my gray just a little, my second color, and we're going to start with our corner. So I'm going to I'm going to do 3 double crochets. Now to hide my colors, I'm going to do half my double crochet, then put the tails through, like kind of over it. Now I'm going to finish my double crochet so the tails are there. So you can't really see, but this is where it is. This is where we start hiding our work. I found that when you're changing the colors, if you put it through that first double crochet, you can't see it, like right here. So a little secret. There's 3. So again, I've got my tails, they're just kind of behind here. And now we're going to change back to gray, so that's why we keep it right there. So I'm only going to do half my double crochet again, and I'm going to tuck my pink down and pull my gray up. So whatever your colors are, this is the best way I have found to change colors. So now I'm going to do 3 double crochets here. So I'm going to trim off my tail. This is the tail when we added the pink. My pink line is right here. So I'm going to start my double crochet. So there's 1 crochet. I'm going to put my pink over it. And then finish my double crochet. And that hides the pink, or whatever your first color is. So we're going to do 3 double crochets, and then we're going to switch back to pink to do the corner. We're going to do this all the way around. So here my pink is. So I'm going to start my double crochet, pull my gray over, there. And so now I'm tucking the gray behind my work. so it can stay kind of hidden. Pull a little more of my pink out. Bad thing about using some leftover yarn, it's in balls. Alright, so I did my 3 double crochets. Now I need to chain 2, 3 double crochets, and again we're going to change back to gray. Here's my gray, or whatever your second color is. Start my double crochet. I'm going to cross my pink over, and now I can hide it behind the rest. And then we're going to pull it back up. Can get a little twisted, so just do your best. Right. Pull my first color back up. There we go. And 3 double crochets in your second color again. Oh, I gotta switch back to pink. There's my switch back to pink. My yarn's just getting twisted, so I was just looking at it. But generally, after every row, I will untwist it. It's a little easier with 2 colors. Two and 3. Switch back to your. Actually, we're gonna keep it with A, with color, your first color. And at the top of chain 3, we're just going to insert a hook and do a slip stitch. So that is round 3. 1, 2, 3. So starting with round 4, we're gonna stick with the first color. I'm gonna single crochet into the space, chain 2, and do 2 double crochets. And then we're going to do 3 double crochets in between the next stitches here. Whoops. Yarn over first. Two. And I forgot to pull my gray with me. So yes, everyone makes a mistake. you just pull it out and do it again. So make sure you pull your other color with you as best you can. There we go. Now I'll do my 2 double crochets. Pull this yarn out a little. And in my next stitch I'll do 3. Again, my second color is right behind where I'm going to be stitching. So I'm just pulling it along with me. And now I'm going to switch back to gray to do my corners. So here's pink. 2, 3. So it's pretty easy. Chain 2, 3 more double crochets. It's all about the design of when you're switching colors that makes that mosaic motif. So now I need to switch back to pink. So on round 4, the inner spots are going to be your first color, the corners are going to be your second color, if that helps. And I'm just placing my color that I'm not actively using right behind where my stitches are going to hold it in place. And we're going to switch back for the corner. Here's my pink. So this square is a total of 5 rounds. So we're almost there. All right, so we're going to keep going around. So your first color is in the inner spots. Your corners are going to be your second color, and I'm going to meet you back here at this corner, and we will start round 5 after that. Okay, so I am at the end of round 4. Round 5, we are going to start with color, your second color. So I'm just going to keep it on there and do my slip stitch. So there's 4 rounds, and this will be the last round for this particular pattern. We're starting with B, color 2 or B, whichever you're keeping it as. So I'm going to do the single crochet, chain 2, double crochet. Grab my pink so it stays with me, because we're going to be changing back to pink here after this. So single crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochets, and I'm going to switch back to pink or whatever your first color is, and I'm going to do 3 double crochets, And I'm going to switch back to my second color. So here's gray. And I'm going to do 3 double crochets with my second color and then switch back to my first color. So again, lots of switching. Switch back to pink. And then for my corners, I'm going to be doing the pink again. Three double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, 2 and 3. Now I need to switch back to gray actually. Gray. Again, I'm hiding my unused yarn behind my stitches. Switch back to pink. I hope you can see how that's going. Switch back. It does take a little bit of practice. So if all your colors are not really hiding that well, I mean, I can see a little bit of pink, like right there peeking through. Once you get multiple squares together, no one's really gonna see. Hiding my pink. And back to pink again. All right. So I'm going to meet you at the last corner here and we'll finish it out. And then I can show you how I stitch them together. Okay, so I am working on my last corner here. I'm going to cut my gray because I was weaving it behind my pink, so it's in there pretty securely. I'm going to slip stitch this together, leave a little bit of a tail, and just pull that through. So there's my next square. Now here's where your yarn needle is going to come into play. You can do this without a yarn needle. I just feel it is more, well, it's easier. But I do have how to weave in your ends, and I actually just use my crochet hook. So I'm just going to tie this off in the back real quick. So it doesn't unwind itself, and I'm just going to go back through some of the pink to hide it a little better. tight. And same thing for this. I never closed off my magic ring, so I'm going to pull it nice and tight because it loosened up while I was working. Thread that through. I'm going to tie it up. Make sure I make a knot with this. Really tie it in there. And then just loop it around a little to hide the ends. There we go. So that's how you make this mosaic square, and then normally I'll do this in twos. I'll put them together, but I'm going to show you how to weave them together. So I'm just going to grab, I ended up using pink, you can see right there, and I still have my other needle. It's already threaded with the pink. So make sure the fronts are facing each other. You want them to kind of line up. It's easier with this stitch. So I'm only going to be going in these back loops. So just in the back loops on both sides. And as long as you get them to match up, shouldn't have an issue. I'm going to go through this one twice just to make a little knot. Again, I would normally be doing this with 2 squares, so I can go along the full edge because I'm doing a table runner with this. But for this purpose, so again, I'm just going through these back loops. And they should match up for you like they are for me once you have multiple squares. You're just going to do this all the way down. Make sure you knot it so it doesn't come loose. And don't hit your camera with your hand as you're doing it. And then normally, once I have my yarn doing there, it's untwisting. I'm just twisting my yarn back. There we go. So when I get to my corner, I usually go through the corners a couple times to make sure they're all nice and tight together. So if I had a second one, I would do that, but this one, we're just going to end it here. And I will keep going making more. And then when you have the end of your yarn here, you can just weave it back through a little to hide a tail. There we go. So now I have one more as part of my table runner. And again, once I get another one, I'll have this corner a little tighter together. But if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Like the video. If you have questions or comments, just leave them below. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.